Reamping is a process where you could record a dry guitar signal into your DAW and then after the fact pump that signal back through various amplifiers to get the perfect tone. So for example, if you can only get an hour in your studio with a guitarist, then maybe your guitarist plays all of their parts for an hour, and then the production team, the engineer, the producers, whoever, they can then mess around with guitar settings as long as they need to, and the guitarist doesn't have to be there for that. That's in a world where a guitarist doesn't have an opinion on the amp settings, which is pure fiction. A slightly more realistic example is where you want to record a guitarist, but you don't want to use their amp settings because the guitarist doesn't know how to set up their amplifier. That's quite common. So you use a DI box like this to route the dry signal out of the guitar into your DAW before it even touches the amplifier. And you can record the amplifier as well in case it's great. Once your guitarist goes home, you can pump the dry signal out of your DAW into another amplifier, into a dry amplifier room, and you can record with as many microphones as you want. And that way you can make sure that you get an amp sound that actually complements the song that you're recording, rather than whatever the guitarist thinks is cool based on how it sounds in their bedroom. You can also use reamping to take the signal of a snare drum and pump it through that same snare drum in order to get a really big snare drum. I guess people really care about snare drums. A normal signal flow is something like this. You take your guitarist and you plug the guitar straight into a DI box. There are then two outputs. You can have a send going to the guitar amp that they hear. You can also send the dry signal out of the DI box into your recording interface. You can then take that dry signal you've recorded into your DAW and you can output that into any number of fancy and probably expensive guitar amps, and then you can spend as much time as you want trying different amp head and cabinet combos, combinations of amps, or microphone combinations, or frankly, whatever you want to do.